welcome to another class. The title of the class, A Mind Full of Thinking is a Heart Full of Anxiety. Today I'll be talking about right concentration, the eighth factor on the Noble Eightfold Path. Let's start with the story. The most famous oracle in the ancient world was at Delphi in mainland Greece. Oracle. And its best-known prophecy was made in 480 BC when Greece and Persia were at war. Under Xerxes the Great, the Persian Empire was expanding its boundaries and it wanted to swallow up Greece. So it invaded from the land and sea, and it had invaded and conquered 2/3 of the mainland. 2/3? Obviously, the leaders were concerned. They did not want to be slaves to Persia. And so they sent some elders to the oracle to know how best to deal with this invading force. And the elders scampered off, consulted the oracle, and the oracle spoke and said, the wooden wall will save you and your children. That's it. It doesn't talk too much, just a little bit. So the elders, wooden wall? Well, they scampered back to Athens and narrated what the oracle had said. The leaders thought, wooden wall. Okay, I know what that could mean. We know what that means. It means we should build a wooden barricade on the Acropolis. The Acropolis was the highest point in Athens, on which the name Acropolis means small city, like a huge fort it was. Yeah, they were going to barricade the Acropolis and fight the battle on land. But then some of the leaders said, hey guys, the oracle doesn't speak through the intellect. It wants us to tap into our intuition. The first thoughts that come to our mind are not always the right ones. So let's do a little brainstorming. So they did a little brainstorming. And finally, they came up with the idea. Actually, it could mean a naval battle. Because when we line up our wooden-hulled ships in a line, they do look from a distance like a wooden wall. We are not engaging the enemy on land. The oracle is asking us to engage the enemy at sea. And it was decided it was going to be a naval battle. And their intuition was spot on. They routed the Persians in the famous Battle of Salamis. Salamis is a small island on the western side of Athens. Yeah? Woof! They were outnumbered, but they fought like tigers. And the Persians ran back to their land. Yeah, right concentration, right focus. So before any enemies come knocking on our gates, the fears and the doubts, the anxieties, Whatever disturbs us before any external reality comes our way to disturb our equilibrium, it's best to use our lead time effectively and go within to discover the enormous resources we are gifted with to assure a conclusive victory over whatever disturbs our peace of mind. Yeah, we have these enormous forces. What is the most important force we have, but which is being underutilized? Intuition. Intuition. Not intellect, not emotions, intuition. Yeah, it's there. But most of us don't even know it exists. So we're talking about right concentration for a reason. Right concentration is imperative because when our mind is well trained, we are able to gain direct access to this enormous force that resides in us. But when our mind is cluttered with too much thinking, too many emotions, heart full of anxiety, it's impossible to access this tremendous force that resides in us and which is imperative for us to cultivate. So, right concentration, what exactly is it? Well, first of all, it is the exact opposite of a distracted and wasted life. They go hand in hand. A distracted life is a wasted life. And consequence, suffering. What else? Concentration. Let's look at two types, how they vary and how they influence us. Yeah, two types. Years ago, researchers decided to grab a yogi from the Himalayas with his dreadlocks, a fellow who was really noted for deep focus, samadhi. They brought him to their lab, wired him up, and then at irregular intervals, they played a sound, a bell. Ding! But the yogi had already gone into his trance. He noticed nothing, nothing. Bong! Tee! Various bells, various sounds were played while the yogi was in deep meditation or full focus. But that yogi with his dreadlocks heard nothing. This type of concentration is termed as single-pointed concentration. Single-pointed. You're no longer, your senses shut down. Yeah? You're not present to the world. You're only present to the ecstasy that dwells within. Now, the thing with this form of concentration is it sparks ESP, extrasensory perception. Yes, wild things can happen when the mind is so finely focused. Yeah, all kind of psychic phenomena are accessible for a mind that is in tune with its tremendous resources. Full stop. All right. So they said, okay, so this is one kind of concentration. Then they went across and grabbed a Zen master, also known for his powerful concentration. Plonked him in the lab, wired him up. They did the same thing. Ding! Bong! All kinds of strange sounds they played. And what they noticed on the screen, yeah, was very different from what the yogi was doing. The yogi on the screen, flatline, no disturbance, none. He was not there. The Zen master, ding, dong, ding. That's what happened. Yeah. The Zen master noted the sounds because he was totally present to his reality. He noted the sounds, played at different intervals. However, his mind did not veer off onto a tangent. Ooh, I like that sound. Oh, where did that sound come from? What does that remind me of? Nothing of that. Just noting the sound, noting the sound, totally present. No irrelevant thoughts added to what he was experiencing. None. Totally present to the moment. This kind of concentration is titled as or termed as moment to moment concentration. Two different types. Moment to moment concentration also sparks ESP, extrasensory perception. We're totally tuned into the pulse of reality. Yeah? However, the first kind, single pointed concentration, puts us in altered states of mind or altered states of consciousness, altered states. Yeah? You're not present to your current reality. Moment to moment concentration, however, creates altered traits of consciousness, not altered states, altered traits. What does that mean? It changes our personal qualities in phenomenal ways, altered traits, refines us in amazing ways. Altered traits of consciousness basically is perfecting our character. And our character, as we all know, equates with our destiny. A supersonic character equates with a supersonic destiny. Mediocre character equates with being in the ditch. This is the type of concentration most Buddhists practice worldwide, moment to moment, being present, not spacing out. Some Buddhists, yes, they like those psychic powers, they space out and they acquire these powers. But the Buddha cautions us against acquiring these powers because it becomes a distraction on the path to awakening. Best not to go down that road. Too much hubris happens, too much arrogance takes place, doesn't alter our character, only alters our ability to bend reality to our will. But that's not necessarily the way to awakening. Okay? Right. Altered traits of consciousness. Through these altered traits of consciousness, we acquire a laser sharp focus as to how we are living our moments and how to continuously change direction for the better. Just as when you're driving down the road, you need to constantly change, yeah, direction. You know, just change. Yeah. Same with an airplane. It's constantly changing, constantly course correcting itself because of wind conditions and whatever. We have to also do constant course correction on our way to awakening. It is imperative. But we can't correct ourselves if the flight deck has been hijacked by our delusions. We got to get those delusions out. So let's see what I'm talking about. Although from time to time, external enemies do arrive at our gates. Yeah, crazy beings, difficult circumstances. Yeah, although from time to time, external enemies do arrive at our gates, like the Persians arriving at the gates of Greece. There's always been the enemy within. Yes, these are external forces coming from time to time, but there's always been the enemy within. Which enemy is this? It is the hidden, malignant inertia that foreshadows certain destruction, foreshadows it, certain destruction of our life and our future that is more devastating than any disaster that an external enemy could inflict upon us. You got that? I'll say it again. Although from time to time we face difficulties from the outside, people, circumstances, and so on. But the greatest difficulty is the one that's residing within. The inertia, the malignant inertia, apathy, not wanting to make the effort to get our lives on track. It foreshadows certain destruction. Countless lifetimes. Look at it. Look around. Countless lives, countless lifetimes. More devastating than any disaster an external enemy could inflict upon us. There's no greater or more devastating tragedy than to lack faith in ourselves and to lack faith in our power to rise above anything that disturbs our equilibrium. How can we have faith? Don't make time to know ourselves. Don't make time to love ourselves. That's how most people live. Tragedy. So the only salvation available to us is through altered traits of consciousness, the refining of ourselves. It is imperative. It is not optional. Because through these altered traits of consciousness, our mind and actions are intuitively, yes, we make contact with intuition, intuitively riveted upon perfecting ourselves daily. And what happens then? When we really tuned into perfecting ourselves, we are passionate about perfecting ourselves, that's when we get to experience the exhilarating bliss of God's eternal presence, guiding us, protecting us, providing for us, prospering us in the most amazing ways. We are in full rapport with life. That's what happens when we are intuitively inclined towards making contact with the source of our being, which is also the source of all knowing. Yep. Now, what does it mean to be intuitively inclined? That our mind is intuitively inclined towards personal refinement. What does that mean? It means no hesitation. We know for certain that there is no other option. There is no salvation in the world outside of clarity. There is no salvation outside of that. We know there's no question about should I practice the Dhamma? Is it really worth my time and energy and attention? Isn't Netflix more important? Aren't shopping sprees more important? Isn't making money more important? None of that kind of bullshit. Intuitively, we understand that there is no other salvation on the planet. None. Outside of a crystal clear mind that is in tune with reality. Yep. Okay. So, what is intuition, please? What is it? It is knowing or understanding something without reasoning, intellect, proof, or deliberation. Remember in the last class what I talked about when I saw the photographs or heard the sound? Yeah, I could say this person is not really not good choice. Outside of reasoning, proof, or deliberation, knowing things, direct perception of reality, that's intuition. What is the value of having this intuition? This direct perception of reality? It safeguards us against making disastrous choices that can devastate us. That's it. Simply, we're not choosing well. Look at the planet. Look at the mess on the planet. The people are suffering. The creatures are suffering. The planet is suffering. No intuition in sight. Only intellect and emotions. Not skillful. I had a friend in Mumbai. I think I've spoken of him in class, but I'll say it again. He worked really well to make big bucks. Hard work, big bucks. Then a friend approached him and said, "Hey, buddy, I have this incredible way to triple your savings. Foolproof. Give me your money and I'll triple it for you within a year." Really? Yeah. Gave him a chunk of his savings, only to be told that the guy had gone bankrupt. Like, sorry, I'm bankrupt. I cannot pay you your money. What to do? It was a shock to his system. It would be a shock to anyone's system. And he allowed the loss of his savings to be more important than his health and well-being. It destroyed him, actually killed him. Yeah? He couldn't handle the loss. He couldn't handle the betrayal. Intellect and emotions. If he was intuitively inclined, he would have said, okay, past life karma, I had to pay off the debts. Let's just move on. But he was not intuitively inclined and he suffered by having premature rebirth. Not skillful. Yeah? The most important decisions of our lives, the person we choose to marry, our choice of career, our preferred lifestyle, and the friends we rely on. Four very important choices that determine the quality and climate of our lives for years to come. These choices are made solely upon intellect or emotions, but they are not working for countless people. People are not happy with the person they married. They're not happy in their jobs. Their lifestyle has caused all kinds of illnesses. Their friends, fair weather. When they need them, nowhere in sight. Yeah, important decisions. And yet, people don't see the value, countless people who don't see the value in being spiritually awake. Tragedy. Here's a little story. A journalist was visiting insane asylum. We'll write a little article on it. And there he saw a fellow rocking in the chair, groaning, grieving, and just saying, Lulu, Lulu, Lulu. And he asked the doctor who was showing him around, hey, doc, what's going on with this fellow? And the doctor said, well, Lulu jilted him. He was passionate about marrying her. She jilted him. He ended up over here. Oh, really? Yeah, yeah. A little further on, they saw a fellow banging his head against a padded wall. Yeah? And he also was talking about Lulu. Lulu! 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 And the journalist said, what's his problem? And the doctor said, well, he's the fellow that Lulu married. Whether you get it or you don't, both ways you suffer when what we desire is not really to our long term benefit. All those desires, all the things we want, when we get it, we're not happy. We don't get it, we're not happy. What will make us happy? Crystal clear mind. A mind that is able to experience the exhilarating presence of God right there in every moment. That's a beautiful mind. That's a beautiful life. But for most people, nah, bullshit. Okay. Intuition, please understand, is in full rapport with the hidden dimensions of life, hidden dimensions of reality, full rapport. And it has the full support of the universe. Yeah. Being in full rapport with the hidden dimensions of reality, it is the perfect guide, yeah, to help us safely and skillfully cross across the turbulent waters of the world around us. Yeah, it's turbulent with illusions, it's turbulent with challenges, it's turbulent with fiascos. Intuition is the most reliable guide that can take us safely across to the other shore. Which shore? To awakening. Yeah, on this side is suffering. We have to cross to the other side. So here's an example of how intuition whispers to us from time to time, whispers to us and says, hey guys, this is the way to go, not this way. The example, it tells us that victorious warriors win the battle in their mind first before going to war, whereas defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win. Of course, they can't. No preparation. Yeah, intuition tells us that victorious warriors win the battle in their mind first and then go to war, whereas defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win. Not possible. It is just not possible. And what is this war that we're facing? It is the contest or the battle between conscious and unconscious forms of living. Every day, the pull of unconscious forms of living moves us towards detours that are not serving us, leading us straight into the swamp. Yeah, we have to be vigilant, right focus. So when life does not meet our preferences, it does not meet our expectations, then instead of responding to it with a negative mind state, yeah, instead of responding to it in a way that is not serving us, intuition tells us, whispers to us and tells us, hey buddy, everything can work in our favor. But first you have to acquire the calm confidence of a man holding 4 aces in a card game. Calm confidence of a man holding 4 aces in a card game. The thing is, we are all holding the winning hand. Our resources are right there. But for us to tap into these resources, we need a calm and steady mind. Because a mind full of thinking and a heart full of anxiety creates too much ruffling in our consciousness. We cannot make skilled choices in that kind of context. Yeah? So intuition tells us that when life does not meet our expectations, we do have the option. We do have the option to go within, to center ourselves in our power, instead of assessing things with our intellect and emotions, instead of looking just at surface appearances. Understand that we have the power to transform anything into in our favor when we are calm enough to tap into these resources we are gifted with. Full stop. So remaining calm during challenging times is a clear example of winning the battle in our mind first before grappling with challenges. Because if we don't win the battle in our mind first, if we get flustered, we've lost the battle. Lost the battle. So the key then to flowing through this world with power and grace comes from realizing that we can never rise to high levels of performance without adequate training. Impossible. We cannot rise to high levels of performance without adequate training. Why? Simple answer. Because we will always sink to the level of our preparation when challenges come our way. Yeah? The key to flowing through this world with power and grace comes from realizing that we can never rise to high levels of performance to meet those challenges without adequate training. Because we will always sink to the level of our preparation during challenging times. And most people are not prepared, totally unprepared for life's challenging times. The inertia. So, what do they refer to knowledge about the enemy in military terms so that they can get an upper hand over the enemy? What is it called? Having knowledge about the enemy so that we know how to grapple with the enemy correctly is called intelligence. Gathering intelligence. Yeah? The more intelligence we have, gathering intelligence from the spies and so on. Yeah? When we have the right information about the enemy, then we are able to determine our defenses to meet it head on and to win a conclusive victory over those forces that seek to oppress us. Simple. Yeah? Information about the enemy in military terms is called intelligence. Most of us, even though we are gifted with divine intelligence, profound amount of intelligence, we're not utilizing it correctly. Isn't that crazy? The enemy, remember, is the hidden, malignant inertia that devastates our life. Lifetime about a lifetime over a lifetime. Totally unprepared. How are we not using our intelligence correctly? What are we doing with this God-given resources we are gifted with? Well, instead of being keenly driven to seek the depth of things, instead of having this deep desire to know what is true, our predisposition is towards denying reality, resisting reality. That's what happens. Yeah? We're not using our intelligence to seek the depth of things. We live on the surface. Shallow thinking, shallow life equates with suffering in the ditch. Yeah? Our predisposition is towards denying reality, resisting reality, avoiding not wanting to see. How do we do that? But what happens when we continue to live in this fashion? When we continue to deny reality, how can we possibly identify and eradicate the causes and conditions that give rise to our misery? And those causes and conditions, trust me, are rarely on the outside, primarily on the inside, causes and conditions. So, how do we deny? Well, okay, let's take a look. How do most people deal with stress? How do most people understand stress? For most beings on the planet, somebody else's fault. Somebody else, something else has caused me this trauma. Yeah, blame game. That's how most people respond to stress. And in the process of judging and criticizing and complaining, people acquire all kinds of illnesses in the body and in the mind. Yes, that's how people respond to stress. Are they interested to seek the depth of things? No, no, not interested. Stress is an outside factor, not inside factor. I'm not responsible. He did it. That situation did it. That's why I'm stressed. Hmm. So, through right focus, when we learn to focus our time, energy, and attention correctly, we no longer deny the true nature of reality because we see clearly what's going on. And what we notice is that we have this pernicious habit of believing in what is not true and refusing to believe in what is. That's a pernicious, debilitating habit. We have this tendency to believe in what is untrue, don't want to give up that belief, and refusing to believe in what is. So, unless we terminate, eradicate this tendency, this habit of a countless lifetimes, the possibility of our ever knowing real joy and well being is out of the question, totally out of the question. Are you understanding? Two ways in which we devastate ourselves, our lives, and hurt others in the process. We continue to believe in what is untrue, firmly believe, and refuse to believe in what is true. I spoke about it in the last class. I'll speak about it again in this class, pointing things out. Okay, stay tuned. Through right practice, as our vision clears, yeah, through a focused mind, as our vision clears, we come to see a horrifying truth. Apart from this, the horrifying truth is that we say we want to be happy. We say we want to be healthy. We say we want all the best things in life when we say lots of things. And yet, we are driven towards those very causes and conditions that keep us in the ditch. Isn't that crazy? We say we want joy, but our focus is towards suffering. How is it possible? Examples? How many of you watch the news daily? Yes, the news. And what is the news telling you daily? All the things that are not working in the world. Is it true? Does it make you happy? You say you want to be happy, but you're watching the news every single day, creating biochemical storms in your body with fear and anxiety and resentment and anger. And you say you want to be happy? Stop watching the news. Most of it is bullshit. Second, think of how much time, energy, and attention you place on distractions. Decades of your life wasted on distractions when you could have been doing something better. Decades wasted. Distractions make you really happy. They give you the foundation for handling a crisis. Wasted life. Third form, you say you want to be happy, but you keep yourself overly busy and so exhausted that you have no time or inclination to pay attention to what really matters. And you say you want to be happy? Is it going to happen by default? Elite performers in this world, those guys who are at the top of their field, yeah, sports, music, dance, business, wherever, Those guys who are on the top of their field tell us that all elite performance is 90% psychological, not physical, psychological. It's all in the mind. Yeah, yeah. And yet, how many of us, how many people pay attention to nurturing their mind? They want to experience life at its best. But how many people invest sufficient time, energy, and attention in perfecting themselves? Very few, very, very few. These are the guys who are happy in this world. Do you know of, have you heard of the iPhone effect? Let me tell you, in case you haven't. Two groups of people are brought together for research. Okay. One by one, from each group, they're sent into a room to talk to a stranger. Yeah? One by one, two groups. In group A, the guys who go into the room are facing the stranger with an iPhone in front of them. It's not their phone. Yeah? It's there. The other group, there is no phone. And they noticed that just by having that phone visibly in front of them, the guys who were being researched, their attention and their interaction with the person they were conversing with was minimum. Their eyes and their attention was on the phone. Even though it was not their phone, even though it never rang, just the presence of that phone distracted them immensely. The other group, they had a good interaction. Their attention was spot on. No distractions. Yeah? So we say we want to be happy, and yet we flood our consciousness with distractions upon distractions daily. Watching the news is a huge distraction. Surfing the net for garbage things is distraction. Ah, Lord. Keeping ourselves busy is also a huge distraction because we are focusing on secondary issues while neglecting the primary ones. How can we possibly know fulfillment? How can we possibly experience the presence of God when we're living in zombie mode? No can do. Ultimately, the thing is, ultimately, no one else can solve our issues for us. No one. We need to liberate ourselves. How? No doubt, there is comfort in certainty. We seek certainty. Yeah? Plans. Gotta make the plans. They offer us a reassurance in a fast changing world. But in the midst of life's incessant change, there is this other force, another powerful force at play simultaneously. Yeah? Amongst this change, there's another equally powerful force at play that throws our plans and our expectations into the wind, out the door, out the window, into the wind. What is this force? Yeah? We seek reassurance with plans and preparations. We seek certainty in a fast changing world. But there is another force playing out constantly. The powerful force. What is this force? is the unexpected occurrences in our lives. Unexpected occurrences that come in their positive as well as negative forms. Unexpected, uninvited, unbidden, they come in. Now, these unexpected forces, yeah, these unexpected realities can either make us or break us. Whether it is positive or negative, doesn't matter. Both have the potential to either make us or break us. These forces, these unexpected occurrences in our lives, can be highly beneficial, whether positive or negative, can be highly beneficial when we are prepared for them, when we've lived correctly, a well considered life. But when these occurrences happen out of the blue, unexpected realities arise. Yeah, if we're not prepared, straight into the swamp, straight in, where the wild things live. Chomp, chomp, chomp. It's not just the painful aspects of reality that devastate us: accidents, betrayals, illnesses. We're not prepared for them. Suffering. Yes, that's obvious. But also the positive aspects of reality can devastate us when we are not prepared for them. Think of lottery winners worldwide. Very happy. Many die prematurely from overindulgence. Yeah. Think of success. How many people are prepared for success? Yeah. Leads to arrogance, leads to self centeredness, leads to the rehab. Success. Yeah. Not prepared, unexpected. Boom, boom, boom. Although we live in an uncertain world, the good news is that before us is always possibility. Although we live in an uncertain world, regardless of all the mistakes we have made and continue to make, before us is always possibility. What does that mean? That the future is open ended, not fixed, open ended. We can make it whatever we will, but we have to learn to focus our time, energy, and attention correctly. Otherwise, no can do. Yeah? So we are not constrained by the past. We're not constrained by the mistakes we've made in the past unless we allow them to constrain us. How do we allow them? Through the hidden, malignant inertia, negative self limiting mind states. That's how we allow them. We need altered traits of consciousness to liberate ourselves from these unwholesome, unskillful forms of living. Without altered traits of consciousness, which means personal refinement, we are sunk. Sunk. Yep. So, how do we tap into the possibilities that await us? What has to happen? Our journey to awakening is long and arduous, not easy, little bit struggling. Our journey to awakening is long and arduous. And things do not improve themselves for the better if we just hang in there. Things do not improve in our favor if left by themselves. And most of us, we just leave things by themselves and hope somehow something will happen. Yes, something does happen. Just as rose plants need pruning for them to flower, we need intervention. We need divine intervention. We need a little pruning for us to flower into our best. Because on our own, we're not going to take the tough part, the tough path. What pruning do we need? Life gives us with surprises, those unexpected occurrences in our lives are blessings in disguise, whether positive or negative. We require those jolts, yeah, to awaken us from our birthdays, living in zombie mode. We need to awaken from our birthdays to pay attention to what really matters. Yeah, a near experience with death, a deep illness that almost kills us, a betrayal, even success that takes us onto a detour and puts us in rehab. All those occurrences wake us up if we allow them. Yeah? We need divine intervention because on our own, on the long journey to awakening, the inertia is too strong. We will not make certain choices on our own. Life has to come in and push us in the direction of awakening. And therefore, when faced with these difficult scenarios, unexpected, unbidden occurrences, we need to see them as gifts from beyond. Instead of resisting them, instead of being afraid of them, fighting them, gifts from beyond. Thank you, Lord. I needed to wake up. Yep. Now, the great news is that personal growth has no limits, no limits to it, whereas everything else does in this world. Personal growth has no limits. We can grow endlessly till we awaken. Yeah? Everything else does. So, for us to make the most of our time on this planet, it is important for us to seize whatever opportunities life gives us for perfecting ourselves, even if those opportunities arise in their dark form. These are gifts from beyond for our awakening. Regardless of how painful, regardless of how traumatic, we have to go through that fire to refine our consciousness to see life in ways that the average person is unable to. Yeah? If we shy away from risks, if we shy away from difficulties, we remain in the swamp our entire life. When crazy opportunities present themselves, get on the bandwagon. Very, very important. Let me give you an example of this. Interesting story coming up. In 1986, I was in Thailand. In 1986, I had visited Thailand, Sri Lanka, and Japan to deepen my practice. So this story is about Thailand. I was in Chiang Mai, North Thailand, Forest Monastery. And The abbot was a wonderful fellow, lovely fellow. In the evenings, he had requested me to teach him English. He had broken English. I learned from him another form of English. I learned from him to say can, no can do. That's from Thailand. Yeah, I speak like that because of my connection with the abbot from many years ago. No can do. Yeah. Now, one evening, before our English lessons began, he asks me, "Hey, Belam, do you believe in ghosts?" Do I believe in ghosts? I'd already experienced quite a few of them, but I could see that he was a non believer. So I said, "No, I'm not sure. I don't believe in ghosts." I said, "Okay, great." Two of his disciples who owned some property out in the fields, they were having problem with the ghost. He would come in the night in the paddy fields. They could hear him coming in the water, footprints. Couldn't see him. He would come into the house, which was on stilts, throw down paintings, whatever was happening, they would just disrupt the room. And they were petrified. Yeah. So they approached the abbot and said, "Please, can you come and just zap him with your radiance?" So the abbot, well, said, "Okay, I'll give it a shot." So he asked me, "Belam, these people are coming tomorrow. So take me there. Do you want to come along? Do you believe in ghosts?" Mm, what could I say? Yeah, I'll come along. So they came in the night. Around 10 o'clock, they picked us up because the ghost came around midnight. Yeah. They picked us up in their on their flatbed. I was in the back, the abbot was in front with those fellows. And we went across. The moon had not yet risen. Yeah, it was going to be a full moon night. Not yet risen. There we went to this quiet field, huge field, forest behind, black. And they dropped us and said they would come back at 4 o'clock. We were going to be there for a few hours to grapple with that ghost. They left us and went off. We scampered up the stairs because the house was on stilts. There was this large courtyard where they usually threshed the rice or wheat or whatever they grew, yeah, to prepare and dry it out in the sun. And then there were these cabins, all wooden, yeah, but not well made. There were gaps in the planks. You could see through. The main room was there. We took a look at it. Then there was a smaller room. And the abbot said to me, "You will meditate in this room. I will sit outside and meditate on the veranda." Nice. So he could leap off and run while I'm stuck in the room. I said, "Okay, sure." No light, no lights. So I positioned myself. The door was on my left. Yeah. The abbot was just outside that door on the veranda, supposedly meditating. I pushed on my little, I got something to push, got a cushion, and sat facing the planks with their little gaps, the room behind me. I'm breathing in, breathing out. Ghosts, I had experienced them before. I knew of their existence. I had not had very happy memories of those ghosts. Rather scary. And here I was, ghost busting. Sat there, sat there, sat there. Looked at my watch. No mobiles. 86. Almost midnight. Then, please understand, it is when your mind is well focused that you can sense things around you 360 degrees. When your mind is not well focused, you sense nothing. I was pretty focused. I sat there, breathing well, ready for, yeah, my dancing with the ghost. And I cannot tell you what happened next. I mean, amazing stuff. I sensed his presence, its presence, diagonally over there. Powerful presence. Yeah, I was completely petrified when he made his appearance in the room. Appearance means presence. I didn't see him. Okay, felt it, felt the tangible, palpable presence right there. And I also felt, because my mind was laser sharp, I felt him checking me out. He was gauging my power. Yeah, he was gauging my power and just waiting for the right moment to make his move. I sat there like a rock, scared out of my wits, but I did not move. I stood my ground. Yeah, and then he came and he rushed into me like a rhino, the power of a rhino. Poof, straight into my body, and he went straight into my mind. You might wonder, am I talking rubbish? Well, believe what you want. Came right into, I understood possession then, what possession could mean. Yeah, I was possessed. Came into my body, then went straight into my mind. And when he went into my mind, my consciousness, the image I got was of a communication tower that was engulfed by dark clouds and could not send its messages. Yeah, could not transmit correctly. My thinking became clouded. I could not think well. He was right there inside of me. Yeah, it's checking me out. And I was taking refuge by the second in the Buddha Dhammasaga, petrified. And he checked me out, then went out the door. I mean, went through the wall, the planks. After he left, oh, the relief I felt. Yeah, that was some powerful being that had just made his entry and exit. After my heart settled down, yeah, I got up from my cushion, opened the door to see what the abbot was up to. He was sleeping on the veranda. No meditation. And because it's made of wood, the place was made of wood, there was some creaking sounds. So when I walked out of the room, the creaking sounds awoke him. He woke up. Hello, like that. So, oh, it's just me. It's just me. Did you see any ghosts? No, no, no ghosts. How could I tell him what I saw? It was something, like I said in the last class, difficult to explain. Yeah, he doesn't believe in ghosts. If I said yes, oh, it's all in your mind. Yeah, he was in my mind. So I said, you go back to sleep. No worries. There's no ghost here. but I couldn't go back into the room. Too claustrophobic. I walked down the stairs, walked in the fields, and there I saw this incredible sight. There from behind those black silhouette of the trees, forest, rose this red moon, full moon, huge, fascinating moon. What an incredible sight. This rose into the sky. And I went, after watching all that, after relieving myself, I sat on the stairs, waited for those guys to come. 4 o'clock, saw the lights coming. We were picked up and brought back to the monastery. Yeah? Regardless of how traumatic, regardless of how scary any experience could be, we need to seize the opportunities for perfecting ourselves. I'm so happy that I said yes to going with him ghost busting. It was an incredibly memorable experience. And I discovered my power instead. Instead of saying, no, no, discovered my power. Yeah? Focused attention. That being saw that I was not a threat, that I was just a practitioner, no threat. I had no ill feelings towards it. I was just scared. Left me alone. Went through. Yeah? We have the power. We have the resources. We need to trust in them. So instead of worrying about the future or the present, our task as Dharma practitioners is to perfect our mind to the point where we're completely riveted on what really matters. We have to matter in the right way. If we do not matter in the right way, nothing matters. Nothing helps. Yeah? So when we matter in the right way, when we do what is important, and we live the life we are meant to live, that's when we get to experience the exhilarating presence of God's eternal love and joy and beauty all around us 24/7. This, my friends, is right practice. Yep. The Noble Eightfold Path is designed to put us in touch with the palpable reality which most people don't have any idea about. Another dimension to living, which most people are totally clueless about, but where true nurturing, true nourishment exists. Any questions? Over and out. Stay well, stay happy. See you in the next class.